said that the quality of predictions were also better after inclusion of the prior information, and that's kind of surprised me. I expected it to become worse because when you don't have this restriction, you are kind of free, and you can find even better classifier.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't for us really. I mean, we did try it also. The question is, which kind of networks do you put in? If you put in pathways, actually, like, for example, from TEC, you just for human have about 4,000 genes, so you lose really a lot of data because the other we couldn't sensibly use. Not with the protein-protein interaction databases, almost all the genes are in there, and that's somehow. Although we didn't even see big performance, I mean, there's definitely enough genes there that the information is there. So the question how to prioritize them is actually, I think, if you look at all of them, you will overfit and you won't get good classifiers. If I prioritize, I have a higher chance of picking out the relevance, which not only, I mean, the problem is I don't only want to fit my training set well, because that task is relatively easy. I want to find those which then generalize and work also better on the set. And with this, I suppose, I mean, I hope I'm better if I look at the genes which, although it isn't really a restriction here. In this case, it's a weighting. I mean, we could just limit ourselves to those genes. It's a weighting rather than a restriction. But you're right, of course. It might. I mean, and I'm pretty sure it won't work on all data sets possible. I mean, that there will never be, I think, one machine learning algorithm which outperforms everything on every data set, because the classification problems are too diverse.
Okay, any further questions? So we like to use support vector machine and page rank algorithm. So they're actually in linear space.
Yeah.
What do you think about methods that utilize non-linear transformation of data?
Well, I mean, support vector machines can use all kinds of kernels. We actually did use a linear kernel here. I didn't mention
general space is linear. So what do you think about methods?
No. I mean, the support vector machine uses usually the kernel trick, not so you usually transform your space by a polynomial or radial kernel into something higher dimensional, and then, I mean, you can pretty much get all the functions in support vector machines. It's depending on the kernel. Although you're right, we did use a linear kernel, because in this case, we're already prone to we already find a perfect separation in the linear space. So we're already prone to overfitting in the linear space. So if I make it even worse by kind of allowing polynomial or other separations, I mean, of course, it can be done, but it's in this case, at high dimensional setting, it's unusual, because you usually say you need more cases than you have features.
Like even more dimensions.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Did you try random forest in the?
We did actually try random forest and TEM and a couple of other algorithms there, but we didn't. I mean, what we didn't do in this case, we didn't include the networks. Although I'm pretty sure you could include with random forest also information about network connections. So
like SVM, you like more than.
No, actually, I like random forest pretty much. I mean, it's really hard to. I believe in this case that, especially with the high-dimensional data, I mean, any classification, I mean, any of the, if you use random forest or SVMs, they're all very good, and they all separate very good, and I don't think the algorithm makes such a big difference. The big difference in the end, because of the high dimensionality and the overfitting, makes the feature selection. The feature selection step is crucial, because that tells you whether your problem, whatever you learn there, will be generalizable or not. Because the separation, I mean, any algorithm can do this, even the simplest one. So
here you use the language of your biological.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that was the idea. Of course, I agree. You could put the same things into random forest and probably get similar, or it's just a matter of taste. I can't say I like support vector machines, but I've seen in practice that random forests perform very well in a lot of cases.
Okay, I see. Thank
with regression and lasso, but we didn't incorporate the network knowledge there. Although there is now cases, there's also now variants actually like group lasso or so, where you could probably include things like this. We haven't done this. What we also done now recently, we also wrote a paper where we compared this to a boosting algorithm, which is kind of similar. I mean, it's very similar to lasso. It's just you boost by putting the steps in one after a time. And that was actually on a different data. Well, on this data set, we performed better than a boosting algorithm, which also incorporates network knowledge. But on the data set where we compared it there, the boosting algorithm was again better. So it's, I suppose there's also data set. I mean, one could really go and compare